The Winnipeg Jets need to make some dramatic improvements to their offensive core this offseason without a doubt. It was one of their most exposed areas in the playoffs against the Colorado Avalanche, and, let's be real, we've kind of seen it coming for a while. It has been one of their weaker elements, and it's not a defensive core of a team that's really going to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. Let's be real. There's a lot of solid guys on there, but it's just not enough to get it done come playoff time, and we've seen it the last couple of years. Josh Morrissey can't do everything by himself, and the Jets need to make some changes, and I think buying out Nate Schmidt is an important decision that needs to be made this offseason to really find some extra success potentially in changing things back there. Nate Schmidt, with all the UFAs we have, with Dylan being gone, Colin Miller being gone, and Dylan DeMello still up for discussion. Who knows if he comes back? And with Nate Schmidt entering his final year of that $6 million contract he's on, I think it's time the Jets pull the plug on him. And it's not because he's been a bad player, because last year the 14 points is deceiving, because defensively he was pretty damn good. And when every year he's been here, his first year he was great, his second year not so much, and last year was definitely his weakest. He was a third pairing defenseman for us for most of the year, and like you already saw by the amount of games played, was scratched for some areas. He did have some weak stretches definitely down the year. And it's funny when you look at Brendan Dillon and Nate Schmidt's careers with Winnipeg, they were both acquired the same offseason, and Dillon got better every year he was here, and Schmidt kind of got worse every year that he was here. And with Dillon probably not being re-signed by the team by all the indications, I think it's time that you look at buying out Schmidt. You get $3.2 million in cap next year for the team, and then you get a $1.6 million in dead cap the year after. So it's not that terrible of a move. And with Ville Heinola in the pipeline, getting him in, getting rid of Schmidt, creating an extra spot, as well as probably moving on from Logan Stanley, I'd imagine as well. You bring in some youth, you get Ville Heinola back there, which could really help spice things up offensively for the defensive core. You move Nate Schmidt out. Dylan's already leaving. I don't know what happens with Dylan DeMello. I have no problem re-signing him for maybe a second pairing role and trying to find a more legit partner for Josh Morrissey, or something along the lines of that. But at the end of the day, that's what the Jets need to really be focusing on this offseason, in my opinion. It's if you're going to trade Ehlers, you got to get a defenseman. You got to bring in a legit top pairing defenseman, in my opinion, that's proven to help this team get over the edge, because the defense, Josh Morrissey just can't do it by himself. And even Nate Schmidt had a good year in regards with the Jets. Like, he wasn't terrible this year. It's just his contract is too much money for the role that he plays. He's a third pairing defenseman that got scratched for multiple games this year and was really carried by Dylan Sandberg. Like, these guys were a responsible defensive pairing. We had nothing flashy offensively, pretty much, and that's what you got from them, and they were great at it this year. But that's not worth $6 million. Like, you can't have a third pairing defenseman making $6 million and try to be competitive. Like, you need to move on from that, and I think buying him out with only the 1 year left makes a lot of sense. I think it works financially for them as well, just to do it. If it was a long-term buyout, like the Wheeler contract was, and I just don't know if they would do that. But it's this one more year, and the Jets need to rebound hard and make improvements this offseason, because it's very evident that they're not going to win a Stanley Cup if they keep things the same. We've seen that the last couple of years. They were great in the regular season, and they shit the bed come playoff time, and you can't roll it back next year and expect a different result, and I don't think they are. So I think that focusing on defensive upgrades is really important, and I think buying out Nate Schmidt would be the ultimate start to kind of really rebooting the defensive core. And if you're gonna already have, look, let's be real, the Jets cannot roll it back with Neil Pionk and Nate Schmidt on this club next year, because if they do, that's over $11 million in cap being spent on those two players. $11 million of cap to buy both those guys by, and let's be real, third pairing defensemen at best, but get more opportunity with the Jets, because that's how the Jets use them in their system. Like, it's plain as day. Like, Neil Pionk is not a good defenseman, hasn't been for a while. I think if everyone in the fan base is finally getting on board with that, and he's already making too much money. If you have Schmidt on the team next year making that cap, like, and it'd be crazy to send him down to the AHL. They would never do that to him, I don't feel like. So, and I don't think he would accept that either. So they have to move on from him. I think buying him out makes a lot of sense, and he'll be signed by a club in a depth role. Like, hell, I'd even want the Jets to re-sign him in a depth role at a cheap contract. He's still a good hockey player. It's just that contract is ridiculous, and the Jets really can't compete with that contract still in the books. especially if they really want to make some upgrades, some real meaningful upgrades this year. And I'm not talking about free agency because, I'm talking about trades. And the Jets are going to be looking at trades, obviously. McGroarty seems that, that draft and development, my ass with Rutger McGroarty. He looks like he's going to be traded. Nikolai Ehlers still wants out, and he's got one more year left. He's probably not going to re-sign. So whether you keep Ehlers and you try to win with him, or you trade him for a good package, I don't know, because I still don't like the idea of trading Ehlers. I think he's a very good underutilized player for this club, and could be really, really good for us, under our Neil and analytical system. But if they move on from him, that's the case. But, at the end of the day, if Schmidt's money is gone and they buy him out, they get a little bit extra cap as well with that. The Jets already have, if I'm not mistaken, according to Cap Friendly, since it hasn't been taken down yet, thanks to the Washington Capitals buying it. But, right now the Jets have $13.5 million in projected cap space. Add another $2 million, $2.5 million onto that. That's nice. That's a nice number to be at for a club trying to improve their defense. And I think that's what the Jets should do, plain as day. It's just buy out Nate Schmidt, take the cap hit the year after, get some help this year, and go for it. You really got to improve your defense. And even though, like I said, Nate Schmidt's not necessarily a bad player, having him and Pionk on the books next year are not going to help you field a competitive hockey team that's going to be improved from what you saw last year. Plain as day, just too much money invested into weak links. It's not going to get anywhere, bring you any more success than it already has, which is what, getting to the playoffs and losing the first round the last couple of years. So I know that you had a really good year in the regular season, but at the end of the day, the Jets were good, and I just don't think that this club is going to, really improve unless they move on from some of these guys. And I don't think they're going to move Neil Pionk, so you have to get rid of Schmidt because he's the other side of that bad contract coin defensively back there with the guys that are still on the club. They're just making too much money for the roles that they play. It's just ridiculous. And I don't know. I just hope that they can move on from it. Chevy has a hell of an offseason laid out in front of him. He's already got a lot of situations, but they just got to move on from these guys. You got to make the right decision, They're not going to trade Neil Pionk. He's only got one more year left, but Nate Schmidt as well, making $6 million pretty much, 5.95. Move on from that contract, Chevy. Buy him out and go back there and reshape the defense and, use the youth you already have and really go out there and improve it. You have a real chance to do it because at the end of the day, this club is not going to make it to the playoffs and be any better than what we saw last year in this past playoff rounds. We're not going to see anything better than that if they keep the same shit going on. So all I care about is being better come playoff time next year. I don't want to have to watch this hyped-ass crowd like we've seen the last couple of years of all of us amazing Jets fans being there, believing in this club after a successful regular season, to watch them get outworked and outplayed in the first round of a playoff matchup again. I'm tired of seeing it, and I want some real change because the forward core, it's still got a lot of really good pieces back there, and this team is not. Look, I had no expectations last year for the club, and my expectations this year are just to be improved defensively. I still believe in this club. I think a lot of it's going to be the same next year, with the guys already on here, but they got to improve the defense, and buying out Nate Schmidt, I think, is just essential to that. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below if you disagree with me. If you think I'm crazy, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, check out all the affiliate links down in the description below. Peace, love, and positivity. As always, go Jets, go! And I will see you guys in the next one.